Yo, what is up guys? It's me, Lee, back bringing some more NBA news and updates. Hope you're all having a fantastic day, but you guys already know that we're gonna have a lot to talk about today, so let's not waste any more time. Let's just get right into it. Let's go. First up in the news, the Brooklyn Nets season may have come to an end the other night when they lost to the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round of the playoffs 4-1, their first playoff series since back in 2015, but regardless of that, the future of the Nets is still looking brighter than it has in many years. And one of the main reasons that the Nets future looks so bright is because of young stars such as DAngelo Russell, as this season, while expectations were pretty high for him as this was the final season of his rookie contract before he hits unrestricted free agency, DAngelo Russell had to prove now that he was truly worthy of being the number 2 overall pick back in 2015, because up until the start of the season he had shown glimpses of what he could do and what he's capable of, but for one reason or another he hadn't been able to put together a truly impressive season until now. As this season, DAngelo Russell for sure looked a heck of a lot better than he had in any previous season, and he looked more like the player that we thought he was going to be coming out of college, averaging a career high in both assists as well as points per game, with 21.1 points per game and 7 assists per game, while at the same time making his first ever All-Star appearance and leading the Brooklyn Nets to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference. So it was a great season for D'Lo. However, now for the first time in his career, he will face free agency. Now it is restricted free agency, meaning that while he can technically sign anywhere he wants, the Brooklyn Nets will have the option to match any contract that he does receive. And if they do that, then DAngelo Russell, barring some sort of refusal or trade demand, would have no choice but to stay with the Brooklyn Nets, which he says will be his ideal turnout anyways. As we got reports out of DAngelo Russell saying this when he was asked about the possibility of returning to the Brooklyn Nets after this offseason. Hell yeah, I definitely want to be here, but I understand it's a business. Now with DAngelo Russell, the Brooklyn Nets do have a very important decision to make when it comes to just how much money they should be offering DAngelo Russell this summer. He did have a stellar season this year, and for a player who was only 23 years old, he showed the type of growth that you would hope to see out of a player his age, but just handing him a max contract based off one good season and improvement in one season alone would be a risky move, and it's the type of move that could either make or break the Brooklyn Nets as a franchise moving forward, since some players out there, once they land a contract after having one good season or a couple of good seasons, fail to show any signs of improvement or to live up to the contract in which they were given. They quit once they get that bag. So trusting a player to deliver on a max contract after just one good season in the league is for sure a risky move to make. And that is why we also got reports out saying that the Brooklyn Nets are mostly going to let the open market decide DAngelo Russell's value. They might not be the first team to make him an offer. They're going to wait for other teams to make him an offer first, feel out what the market is and see how much other teams are willing to pay before they make their final decision on what they should do with DAngelo Russell. The young point guard has bought in, worked on his body and his defense, and became an all-star, the first one the Nets had developed since Brook Lopez back in 2012 to 2013. But he's got a $21.1 million cap hold and could get a max offer from a point guard hungry team that would be $27 million. League sources say is what Russell wants. The Nets haven't shown themselves to be convinced that he's worth that much and could well let the market decide. Now, this is the conundrum that max contracts do bring about. DAngelo Russell was for sure the best player on the Nets roster this season, and he's a young player who shows lots of potential coming off his best year in the league in which he made the All-Star team. But the question is one good season in and of itself enough to warrant a player landing a max level contract? We're talking about $27 million per year here. Once again, that's the type of contract that can either make or break an NBA team. If it turns out to be a good contract, then that's good for them. But if DAngelo Russell fails to continue to get better after getting this contract, then years down the line, it could hinder the Brooklyn Nets more than it actually helped them. For our next story of the day, the turmoil surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers right now has been an absolute godsend to ESPN, FS1, and any other major sporting networks or shows out there, as they have been able to create numerous stories regarding the Los Angeles Lakers and LeBron James because of the turmoil surrounding the Los Angeles Lakers, aka Magic Johnson deciding to step down out of nowhere and Luke Walton and the team deciding to part ways, and all of this coming on the heel of the Lakers having a disappointing season in which they didn't even make the playoffs. And since ESPN and FS1 and the networks know that anything with LeBron James and the Lakers in the title involving drama will sell so well, they've been doing their best to try and make as many stories out of this as possible, including a segment that ESPN was just running yesterday talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers. And in this segment saying things like LeBron James is disappointed with the Los Angeles Lakers and now the pressure is on the Lakers to show LeBron that he deserves to be there. AKA ESPN's trying to say that LeBron James might be regretting his decision to sign with the Los Angeles Lakers, and if they do not win him over, if they do not earn his trust back, that who knows, he might come out and demand a trade from the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, if this was true, of course, this would be a massive, massive story. I mean, just imagine the madness that would come about if LeBron James really did come out and demand a trade from the Los Angeles Lakers. Yeah, that would be absolute madness if it were true, but it's not. As while this story was still airing on ESPN, LeBron James himself decided to react to it on his Instagram story, posting this video of himself working out in the Lakers facilities, laughing while letting his followers know that this story is 100% false.
With a famous friend, yeah, so do one thing, she ain't even blank.
That is not true. It's not true at all. I'm actually at the Lakers facility right now.
I mean, what else did we expect? It's ESPN. They have to make a living off LeBron James somehow. Next up in the news, Damian Lillard is a complete savage. Okay, so there's still a lot of fuss going around in the NBA world regarding Damian Lillard and how he ruthlessly ended the OKC Thunder season and eliminated them from championship contention in just 5 games, including sealing the series with that dagger of a 37-foot step back bomb at the buzzer in Game 5, causing Blazers fans to enter a state of euphoria, while on the other hand, OKC and Russell Westbrook fans have been trying to cope with this traumatic event ever since it happened. And that's why I say that Damian Lillard is a complete savage, as even though OKC and Russell Westbrook fans are still trying to recover from this, Damian Lillard decided to add even more salt to the wounds, as he posted a picture of a quote on Instagram yesterday that was clearly directed at Russell Westbrook, saying, "It's the unemotional, reserved, calm, detached warrior who wins, not the hothead seeking vengeance and not the ambitious seeker of fortune," with the caption reading, "On to the next." Clearly, this was a contrast between himself and Russell Westbrook, as Lillard, even when he hit that game winner, seemed to be calm, unemotional, and reserved, while Westbrook, on the other hand, is already known as one of the more emotional players in the league and has been looking for vengeance ever since KD left. And it doesn't even stop there, as Lillard continued his assault on Westbrook's pride on Twitter, liking a post of him holding his baby with Westbrook's head cropped onto it. He might be unemotional, he might be reserved, and he might be one of the more calm players in the NBA, but that doesn't mean that the man isn't a complete savage. Next up in the news. Now, before I say anything else, first and foremost, can we all just give some respect to Donovan Mitchell? I know he's catching some flack for how he performed in this series, especially in this game last night where the Jazz were facing elimination, as he went 4 of 22 from the field, only scoring 12 points. So he didn't have a good game, and outside of the fourth quarter from Game 4 when he scored 19 points to help the Jazz get that win to extend their series, Mitchell overall just didn't have a good series. Still averaged 21 points per game, but shot just 32% from the field and 25% from 3. And of course, the Jazz aren't going to beat anyone when Donovan Mitchell is playing like that. But like I said, we all need to give this guy all of the credit in the world still, because without him, these past couple of years, the Jazz aren't even in the playoffs. They're in the lottery, where the entire NBA world was convinced that they would be when Hayward left in the first place. And because of the success that Mitchell and the Jazz have been able to have during the regular season these past 2 years, it has put some remarkably high expectations upon the shoulders of Donovan Mitchell, as we expect the second-year player to be able to carry a team in the playoffs where the stakes are higher than ever and you're only going up against the best of the best. It's just not reasonable expectation. And you could tell by watching Mitchell play out there that he is already being super hard on himself. Last night in this game, towards the end of the fourth quarter, with the Jazz still right there in the game in striking distance, you could easily tell by watching Mitchell that he was frustrated and upset with himself for the performance that he had been delivering, and he looked like he was feeling like he was letting his teammates down. And yes, you can say that if Mitchell did play better, that the Jazz would have won this game. They would have. And if Mitchell played better this entire series, then it might actually been a close series. But the bottom line here is, without Mitchell's heroics all season long, the Jazz aren't even in the playoffs to begin with. And without his tantalizing fourth quarter performance in Game 4, there is no Game 5 for the Jazz to even try to win. Donovan Mitchell is far from a finished product. He's far from perfect as a player, and he's just finished his second year in the league. And this playoff experience is exactly the type of thing that Donovan Mitchell is going to need in order for him to evolve into the player that the Jazz are going to need him to be when they make their much deeper playoff runs in the future. And for what will be our final story of the day, Klay Thompson might have jinxed the Warriors in this series just like he did back when the Warriors blew a 3-1 lead to the Cavs in 2016, as after the Warriors won Game 4 and took yet another 3-1 series lead over the Clippers, Klay Thompson made a mark saying that the Warriors' real opponents were the Houston Rockets and they were already looking forward ahead to that challenge, seemingly dismissing the Clippers as a non-threat in this series and assuming that the series would come to an end in Game 5. Now though, it might be time for the Warriors to take this Clippers team a little more seriously, and instead of focusing on the opponent in the next round, focus on the opponent right in front of their faces. As the Clippers, once again led by Lou Williams and Montrezl Harrell off the bench, pulled off the massive upset in Game 5 to secure the Game 6 back in LA. Lou Williams, who had 33 points and 10 assists in this game, kind of calling out Klay Thompson for his remarks after the game too, saying, "Our focus was to come in and extend this series and get another game on our home floor. It's their mistake for looking ahead. That's on them. The team with 4 All-Stars is struggling to beat the team that has none in the first round of the playoffs, and this was despite a 45-point night from Kevin Durant too. But this is literally what you are asking for when you become too cocky and just assume that because you have more talent, you're going to get the win. However, that still didn't stop Klay Thompson from talking a bit more trash after this game. As after this loss, he went on to say that he was disappointed in this game and just wants the Warriors to beat the Clippers by 30 like they should be able to do.
Shoot, ain't no building. Just go do what we do. Like, build from this game. This game sucked. We lost. Let's go win Friday. Let's win big. Let's freaking win by 30 like we're capable of. But it's basketball, so I'm excited for Friday.
But was there any feeling that the team was looking ahead to the next series?
Yep. I mean, starting with me, I thought we would come out and win tonight, but sometimes life doesn't go as planned. We're still in a great position with hopefully only 48 minutes left to close these guys out. They've been pesky, they've been tough, but now it's time to do what we do.
Well, Klay Thompson is pretty infamous for having some massive Game 6 performances, but saying that you're going to try and beat a team by 30 points to eliminate them from the playoffs on their home court before the game even starts is once again a really good way to motivate the Clippers enough to make sure that that doesn't happen. Anyways, that is going to do it for everything that we gotta talk about today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, go ahead and destroy that like button, as well as make sure that you are subscribed to the channel with post notifications turned on so you don't miss out on future videos. Thank you once again for watching, though. You guys already know that you are the real MVPs, but with all of that being said, until tomorrow, keep getting the buckets, Team SDC, and I'm out of here. Peace!